Hello and welcome to my video on the in-depth on 75312 Slave 1. On the box it says Boba Fett Starship. This is like what it would be called, but I feel like it should be called the Slave 1, and I'll talk about that more later in the video. If you do enjoy this video, please subscribe, because I'll be doing this for all of the summer sets and I've already done them, so check out the in-depth playlist, link in description below. So the Boba Fett Starship, or Slave 1, which is what I'll be calling it throughout the video, is 75312 and has 593 pieces, and it comes with two minifigures being Boba Fett and the Mandalorian. Looking at the box art, it's Lego's normally white greebling design, and then you have the Mandalorian in the top corner, which is like, so they kind of have four I think currently. So you've got your standard one, your Darth, which is Darth Vader, Kylo Ren for like the prequels, and then you have the 332nd Trooper for Clone Wars, Mandalorian, and Bad Batch. The Bad Batch one's kind of lesser used, but those are like your five top corner characters. And then on the side of the box you can see the front image more zoomed in. On the back of the box you can see it's on a clearing. I think this is from a scene in the Mandalorian, on like the planet where they blew up in an Imperial base. So you can see the five wee like squares with features, and I'll talk about those more later. Looking at the image, it's slightly weird. I don't think this is like Lego, so normally I take like a real image. This is like computer developed one, and I don't know why they did this. I prefer when they're real images, it just looks slightly better. Box art is pretty good, and it's like a good like how you see the set, like it's kind of like in terms of advertising, your first impression. The value of the set is £45 or $50. I'll kind of come back to this at the very end, but for 593 pieces, that is immediately a very good price per piece. Also, two minifigures, both with arm printing, one being exclusive. That's also quite a good like value so far. Like all the parts are adding up to make this good value so far. And yeah, I think it will end up being worth the value, but I'll say that more at the end of the video, so watch until then. So starting off with the two minifigures, you have Boba Fett and the Mandalorian. So the Mandalorian is the same as I believe in Trouble on Tatooine, and it is also going to be in a couple other sets like the Mandalorian Forge and Imperial Light Cruiser. And so it's not going to be a very rare minifigure. I think that's something Lego should maybe try to change it up a bit, so it would be more of a rare minifigure. But anyway, starting off with Boba Fett, so he comes with his blaster. It's a two-part blaster. His like actual blaster is quite different from that, but for like Lego's representation, it's pretty good. But the rest of the minifigure is absolutely brilliant. The head is pretty nice, so I'll talk about that more, but the helmet, really good. I like the way it's a really nice dark red, and you kind of got that, and then your dark green and sand green, and you also have a rangefinder. So I'm guessing, because of the way Lego do this, they come in like packets, there'll be a bunch of rangefinders with the set, so if you wanted some for like clone troopers, you'll get them, which is pretty good. And you can see he has arm printing, really nice. So he has like the skull, I think it's, I'm not sure what the precise name for the skull is, but on like the yellow pad, and then you have the red bit there for like his rocket launcher on his arm. There's also piping printed on the back, which is quite impressive. The other arm is like the yellow pad but without the skull. His torso printing is really good. It's nice dark green. There's like a couple dents, which is accurate. And then you have his thermal detonator, and it's like all kind of printed on like black, most of it. I think the legs might be on chrome grey, so that's kind of supposed to be like the underclothing anyway. And he has like the yellow knee pads, and he also has like printing on the feet, which is pretty impressive. So you can see here like the minifigure, well actually the scene more it's based on, you can see why it's like mostly black, and also the blaster. But also, like, the helmet is really goodly done, and I think you can see, like, the red lines and all that part, and you can see that kind of carried on here. If you look at it compared to the previous one, this one had the sand blue instead and was much more damaged, which doesn't make much sense, but it is how it is. And you can see here it does have arm printing. You can't see it under the cape. There isn't a cape, but that's accurate to this scene. So yeah, not really like a mistake, which is pretty, like, quite impressed so far with the minifigures of the set. Like, there's no mistakes. But you can see here, like, compared to this, there is not too many differences other than some of the colors. And then looking at his face print, you can kind of see some, like, it's like quite marked here, like you can kind of see some scars. And then here you can kind of see it. So this is somebody like managed to get set in hand, but you can see some of those scars are carried across on the back of his head, and you can also see the piping on his arm for like the pressure or whatever to get to his rocket launcher. And now on to the Mandalorian. The Mandalorian minifigure is quite good. I do like the spear it comes with, and that's like the only difference. So exact same minifigure, but this one has a spear. So, but it is good. It's like the Beskar style. I wish they'd done like a line down the middle of his helmet. It would be more accurate, I personally think. But the rest of the minifigure is quite nice. I like his arm printing. It also has on the other side, you can't see it, like the mud horn thingy or whatever you call it. And that's a nice detail. So yeah, accuracy, and that you can actually see like the mud horn. I'm not sure if that's its actual name in this image, but Lego did print that on his shoulder pad, and that's really nicely done. And the other thing to mention is there's like a Gamorrean guard, like carbonite thing. I think it's a sticker, but there's no like actual image of it, so this is kind of the best you get, and you can see it is quite well done. No actual minifigure though either. And so on to the set itself. So I'll talk about the set more, and then like the trolley is what I'll call it, and some of the other things. But the set is really, really cool. The ship is nicely done. It's not perfectly curved because like the size makes it hard, but it is really good done. And also, like, I'm going to go through features and then talk more about the design. So here you have a handle on the back, which I wasn't expecting, and that's pretty impressive from Lego. Quite surprised that they put that in. And it does, you can kind of see the side angle of the set. And also, if you look at the like wing part, it seems to be able to rotate with however you angle the set, which is quite impressive. I'm quite surprised Lego did that. I think it is well done, and the fact that they kind of like decided to make sure it was done well, or at least I think, because like in different images it's different angles, which would suggest that is pretty impressive. And you can kind of see here this image shows 360, but because of the way it's attached with the weight going down, I think I am right. And yeah, so this is the interior, which there isn't much, but I think you'll be able to rotate the minifigure. So if I play this clip, you can kind of see, well, like the kind of minifigure, how it sits and how you could re-angle it. It won't close when you re-angle it, but it does close like on the original. And this is kind of, I based it entirely off this minifigure, and well, actually like this picture, so it's as good as I can get it. I think that might be it. But anyway, I think that's quite good. And you can see here the stud shooter, so there's two, one on either side. I kind of wish they'd hidden them, maybe done like a wee opening feature like they've done on some previous models. Kind of disappointed they didn't do that. Anyway, see, the set, like, design is really, really nicely done. I particularly like the middle part, like kind of the sand green and the grey and the dark green all really looks well together. And the occasional, like on the kind of dark green parts, there's the occasional grey to make it look like it's slightly damaged, which it would be. And then you can see the front of the cannons seem to rotate a bit, and I think that's a pretty good, like, kind of to be expected. But on the one in Cloud City, they didn't, which was kind of weird. I think they should have, but that's a complete different set. And main criticism of the set is a bunch of stickers. So there is quite a lot. I think there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I can kind of work out here, which is quite a lot on a small set. They should have probably printed some, and some of them aren't necessary. Like, you can see the top grey stickers, like at the very top of the set, they should just be grey pieces. And that's something that's slightly annoying. Anyway, you can see it here. This is like the weird image. It's not an actual set of it, because you can kind of see, like, if I flick onto this one, like there's kind of more gradient, I like to call it. I'm not entirely sure that's the right word for it. But this one, you can see like the carbonite pig, well, Gamorrean guard, but anyway, being put away underneath the ramp, which I did think would be a feature. And yeah, and you can see in the background the trolley. So the trolley is pretty cool. You can see it here, it holds up the ship because it's nicely done. So there's like a stopper so the ship will angle backwards, and the ladder holds up against that sea green plate. And I think that's why it's in green. It's probably like not necessarily accurate, but that's kind of how they've done it, so you can see that well. But you can make it look like Boba Fett's driving it around, and I think for a kid that's quite a fun idea. It's like, oh, Boba Fett's like touring his ship or whatever, and I like the way that Lego did that. And the fact that you can actually use it like separately or as a stand is quite clever. Anyway, this is a set taken apart. You can see there's quite a lot to it, like underneath. I think that's where it gets a lot of the pieces, so that's why I think it's not a more like price. But you can also see there's the control panel at the cockpit, which I think is another thing that kind of suggests what it rotates. But anyway, you can kind of see it taken apart. There does look to be quite a bit of building to do. I doubt it'll be very complex though, because I'm guessing this is more like a budget option for like if say a kid was buying it kind of idea. And you can see like a kid playing with it. I do really like the handle. It makes it like really swishable and you'll be able to fly it about a bit better. And I think that's a really good feature from Lego. You can see it here like sat down with like the carbonite bit coming out, and it does look really good. Anyway, compare it to the previous one, which is Slave 1 said, and to mention it, I think they couldn't call it that is because of copyright and legal issues, because the Razor Crest in the Europe is now called the Mandalorian Starship because of copyright reasons. And I think Lego's kind of being safe, and also maybe Lucasfilm kind of being a bit stricter about like copyright issues. I'm not entirely sure to do with like newer shows, but anyway. So this one is a lot smaller, but the price of this one is like twice the price, so kind of to be expected. But yeah, compare this one to this one, you can kind of see it there. There is a lot of difference. It is bigger, but value, I'm kind of leaning towards this one. Anyway, but you can kind of see it does fit in a full-sized carbonite, and the wings like rotate as well. Like all the features, well actually there's no stud shooters, like, but there's spring-loaded shooters in the middle, which is kind of what I like because you can kind of see them there. But also you can see, so on this set, like the Boba Fett rotates, you can kind of see, because it's leant back a bit, you can kind of see him leaning forward, so it's kind of the same angle as the wings, and I think it might be on the same axle. But anyway, yeah, that's why I think this is something that this set does. And compare it to like the UCS one, there's not really any comparison. The UCS one is ridiculously more detailed, much more accurate. Everything on this watch. UCS, what were you expecting? And then compare it to the one from the Cloud City, and it's the most similar comparison. There are some elements which I think were taken from it, but this one is much more improved, much better, and I think that is something Lego's put time and effort into making it a better version of this. They probably like use this as maybe a base to build it off of. But yeah, I really like the set, and also, yeah, really good set. And also, like, if you look at it here, compared to the ship, it is pretty accurate. And can I see what I mean about the stickers? They shouldn't be there, it should just be grey. But anyway, this one's quite damaged. The actual set isn't as much, but there's still some bits of damage. But yeah, really good set. Do think it's worth the value. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.